Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Marvel Snapcast podcast, episode 106. Shout out to Cena with the wonderful intro. As always, I'm here, of course, with the one and only It's Guest Gaming, Mr. Epic Sax Party himself, and, of course,
Hi.
STG, the Super Tech God, the gentleman with every variant in the game. And today, we have a wonderful episode for you guys.
Time.
What I skip over? Every
Even
variant?
the audience knows if you're listening. If they're listening, you set yourself up and just like barreled through your own intro. The guy who has every variant in the game. Pause. Every variant? Every variant. God damn. This is what branding is for, dude.
Listen, we're going based off Cena already did that part. Okay?
I don't
so
care.
They're not
It's
seeing
us.
Cena right. Okay, fair
He's
enough.
not here.
Here's a gentleman
God.
with every variant in the game.
No, fuck it. We're not doing it anymore. No, the moment's dead. No, the moment's dead.
Chat, you see what I got to work
Absolutely
with
dead.
here? You should have to work with. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on in again. We have a few things to talk about, and we're going to kick things off with the one and only OTAs. I was about to say
There we
Nightmare.
go.
That's how much I love Nightmare. OTAs, ladies and gentlemen, over the air. For you guys who didn't know, we have an OTA in a little bit, and now we have a plethora of awesome changes, and we're going to dive right through it right now, kicking things off with the first one, and that is the one and only Thanos. Right? That was one that everybody was so concerned about. They were waiting and hoping and praying that this card gets changed, and there it is. Thanos now was a 6/12. Of course, at game start, you draw Thanos and shuffle all the Infinity Stones into your deck, but now Thanos and his wonderful stones are all shuffled into the deck at the start of the game. Guess, I know it's something that you spoke about on the podcast a lot, so I think your prediction came true. This is something that you wanted for the longest, getting Thanos into the deck and out of your hand so you don't have that wonderful, powerful card in your hand to start. How do you feel about this change?
I'm totally okay with this change. To be completely honest, I'm totally okay with it. I think that this change kills 34 card Monty, which is what many of us wanted, because that deck, not because it was like the most OP deck in the world, but because it just is a deck that shouldn't be good. It's like when negative is good for too long.
Right.
I think that, and that's kind of what we're seeing, but that's another conversation. But that's a deck that shouldn't be good. And we said it when it was won by Roram in the tournament.
Correct.
It is a deck that thrives off of randomness. It was the beginning of the meta, beginning of the month, trying to organize exactly what it's going to be. So it was successful. And then slowly over the last couple of last couple of weeks, it started to fall off in popularity, fall off in meta dominance. People figured out what they wanted to play more, what was working in this current meta. And then all of a sudden this happens and now it's dead because you lose that automatic draw and starting with Thanos in your hand. Because that's gone, that deck, in my opinion, is astronomically worse to the point where you shouldn't even play it because that guaranteed card was too important. I think that this really makes Thanos a much more difficult piece where it is obviously all about the stones and trying to get Thanos into your hand, kind of like OG Thanos. You needed to get Thanos in your hand to make it happen. This is leaning back towards that mindset. And I like that they have specifically, drawing Thanos, give a little more power to the stones. My only fear is that this will actually feed a new, well, I shouldn't say new, but revisiting Thanos in another way where people are just playing Thanos again exclusively for the stones. So we just had cards like Morgan Le Fay drop, right? The idea of throwing all the stones down on the board, destroying all the stones with Killmonger on turn 4, and then bringing them all back with +3 into your hand on turn 5 with Morgan Le Fay. I think that that's really strong. I think there's gonna be some tinkering and testing and experimenting with that kind of stuff. And I think it's just the beginning of Thanos's new meta. And I do think it will be a good deck, but it is going to take complete rediscovery to be good again.
Well, I'm happy for that. I think Thanos should always have a meta of his own. It's just not as dominant as it has been. So if we do get the change of it being a Le Fay meta with Thanos, I'm happy about that. I don't think it revisits the old version of Thanos, the original powerhouse, because of the change we'll talk about later. But the Space Stone got a change, a buff in power. The Time Stone now draws a card now. I think it did before they took it off, but now it draws a card. Again, still giving that -1 cost to Thanos. And of course, the Reality Stone does replace a location, but it did get a buff to becoming 1/2, which I think is interesting they decided to do that.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, the fact that now the Space Stone does draw the Thanos for you, I think that's also a great plus and a great huge to this deck. And I do hope people do play it a little bit differently, not too cheesy, but again, focusing on Thanos and not just the stones. But what you just mentioned may break the meta. We'll find out soon enough. Nonetheless, overall, all these changes to Thanos and his stones, you think it's a great change? You think it's a bad change? What's your overall opinion on it?
I think the stones were warranted to be changed in some capacities. The big little, the only real meta thing in the stones that's worth noting is the fact that the Space Stone no longer blocks Thanos from moving. So it was a downside to be able to play Thanos and not be able to move it because of the current Cannonball Mercury meta. And those decks were able to take advantage of that because of the move. Now it's a little bit different. I would keep an eye on that. I think, but as you said, not all of the stones, 2 out of the 3 stones got power buffs.
Right.
That's kind of a big deal. It's about playing the stones and keeping the stones on the board, or really, really feeding into your Strange Supreme, or really feeding into your ongoing deck. Because all of those, it's a lot of power to still work with, but the stones are very valuable now. Very, very valuable.
Yeah. I still think Thanos will need that buff of 2 extra power, but we'll see how long it takes before they dip that power back down to 10. Nonetheless, on to another card. And this is a card that's been winning a lot of matchups, especially in the surferless surfer decks, and that is Galacta. Galacta was a 4/5 each turn. The first card you play another location get +3, which was huge. If Cena was here right now, he would be complaining to the top of his lungs that +3 never stays with any card, especially with Surfer. Now Galacta just got the treatment. Yes, she got buff in power, but she only gets +2 now to those cards. Now, I think +2 is nothing to sneeze at. I still think she's a very powerful card, and now her being a 4/6, I don't see anything wrong with this at all, besides the fact that they need to kind of tame that +3, especially when it came to the Brood or the surferless surfer deck. How do you feel about the Galacta change?
I think Galacta's dead. I think this is a card you do not play. Yeah, I do. I think that this puts it on par with Elsa Bloodstone. Really, legitimately, because Elsa Bloodstone is one of those cards you play down on turn 3. You typically don't have the full line going for turn 4. So if you get it to pop off twice on turn 5 and or turn 6, you get more value out of an Elsa Bloodstone at 3/4 than you do out of a Galacta at 4/6. I think that this card does not get played in non-Zabu decks. I think that this card does not get put into deck's default as a plug-and-play card into any deck. Hand buff is still... The decks that want the buffs, like hand buff and maybe Surfer, will still play this because it helps with the Sebastian Shaw, it helps with the Scarlet Spider. But at 4/6, giving the +2s, I do not see this being a relevant card. I agree with chat, because we're doing, for those who do not know, we're doing this live again over on my channel right now. I agree. She would be much better as just a 3 cost of even a 3/3. So you try to get her on curve, and then in total brings it up to a total mass of 3/9. Even if it was a 3/2, I think it's a better card. Like at 4/6, I just think it's too clunky, too late, too weak. I'm not a fan.
All right, listen, I hear you. I just think it's still a powerful card. Giving the +2 won't really hinder, I think, especially with the Surfer package. Anything else might be a little bit different. But nonetheless, do you now take her out and put in Gwenpool? That's the next question to go. I mean, at least with Gwenpool is all RNG based. So I don't know. I still think this card is going to be powerful, especially in the Surfer list. But we'll find out. We'll find out. We'll see. I don't think Gwenpool needs to be swapped out.
I think Gwenpool might be better now.
Really? Interesting. Chat, you let us know what you feel. Is Gwenpool better than Galacta now? All right, and we go on to our next card. one of my favorites, and that is Red Guardian. And I mean, we did talk about this on the stream. I thought it would never happen, but you said Red Guardian needed to be nerfed. So did Cino at the time, and he did get that nerf. He's now a 3/2. It is a powerful card, and like I said to you guys on the stream before, it doesn't matter if he's a 3/2. It doesn't matter if he's a 3/1, 3/0. It's the ability that counts as people want. So I'm happy that they didn't change that ability, but giving him a negative power, making him a 3/2, I think is not bad at all. I think he's still a powerful card, and he will still be reigning supreme throughout all the wonderful tech cards that are out there. How do you feel about Red Guardian?
This is long overdue. We've been talking about this on the podcast. Yeah. I've talked about it on Twitter multiple times on stream. This is long overdue. He's been an OP card because of the total value you get for 3 cost. You get ability removal, affliction, and you get 3 extra power on top of that. So a total of 5 on the lane with a higher ceiling. Yet alone, right, if you mix this in with other cards that benefit from that affliction, it's just long overdue. And I'm glad to see it. I think now you argue who is the best tech 3 slot.
Still Red Guardian.
No, I said you argue it now because it was Red Guardian. I think you could make cases now for Copycat better. You can make cases for Nocturne better, for Cosmo better, for Mobius better. It was very clearly Red Guardian, and now losing a power off of it, I think you can make an argument that others might be stepping into that position.
I still think Red Guardian is better than all of them that you just mentioned. The only fight you could probably give for the 3 cost is Killmonger, but other than that, I think everybody else, Red Guardian, he still gives affliction. He still removes the techs. So, I mean, I think Red Guardian is still a powerful tech card in that.
He's still great.
Slot. But
yeah. He's still great. Don't get me wrong.
I don't know how they nerf him. At least they either remove the affliction and he can still remove the techs, or remove the techs and he does affliction. I don't know. That's the only way they probably can make him a worse card. But I think right now, as long as he keeps that ability and still give that affliction, he's still a great card.
Yeah.
Then we move on to Misery, which I don't think this needed to get a buff at all. But hey, why not? We love buffs here on this channel. Misery goes from a 4/8 to a 4 below a 9, ladies and gentlemen. A 4/9 Misery is beautiful. Fire hair decks, all the people that love those wonderful archetypes, rejoice in this awesome change. That's all I got to say. Misery's great. What about you?
Why?
Yeah,
just why? Like, I don't get why. Like, this is not a bad card, and it hasn't been a bad card.
People still playing it. People have been playing it.
Exactly. Like, why are we enabling this to be a thing even further? Like, I don't understand this one. I think this one seems disconnected. I think that's the best way to word it. It seems
somebody
disconnected.
at Second Dinner loves Misery and loved the archetype and was like, we're buffing this card.
I don't get why.
That's it.
I just think this is a bad
love
idea.
The card. Hey, Second Dinner, if you guys are watching, whoever made this change, hey, you like Infinite too. Just come on, you like Infinite. You know, I'm gonna put the.
Clearly, this is the same person who likes Luna Snow over at NetEase.
Yes, for sure. Come on, guys. You like Infinite. Make the change happen. All right, Absman. This is a great change. Happy he is a 4 power card because Cerebro 5 fans rejoice. You can do some madness now with the wonderful Absman at a 4/5. Somebody mentioned earlier on my Twitch, you can go ahead. On my X, you can go ahead and do Wave into Doom into Absman and Cerebro on the oh my goodness, this is madness, guys. This is pretty awesome. Shout out to the Absman getting that extra power. He didn't need it. I tell you, Absman 4/4 is perfectly fine, but we'll take the 4/5 at any time. Any buffs we take them all the way. So how would you feel about that? Guess 4/5 Absman.
I'm actually a little surprised on this one because I remember the reason he was brought down to 4/4 was Surfer. And it was the Brood Surfer combo that was too strong because you were getting out 5 power Broodlings, but apparently that's not a threat. I don't know how it's not, but it isn't a threat anymore.
It's gonna be.
I feel like that era is gonna come back a little bit, if not a lot. Again, this is another one where the only justification I get for Misery and Absorbing Man is intentionally shaking up the meta. Because in that instance, it makes sense. Where we're intentionally saying this card needs to be better and this card needs to be better because it enables these B tier archetypes up to A tier, since we're dropping Thanos potentially a peg and Galacta potentially a peg. So maybe that's the reasoning, but outside
These
of that,
cards are good. I think if you didn't change these cards, they still be great in the meta right now. So it's kind of like, but we're here for it. We love buffs. We're not mad at all. Then we go to one of my favorite cards, especially in the Sage list, is Wolfsbane. Wolfsbane got some love, getting additional power, but what sucks with that is she no longer works with Ravonna. I mean, we've seen it happen with Shuri, and kind of Shuri kind of only fell off. I mean, she only played in certain decks anyway, but now Wolfsbane taking the hit. No Ravonna synergy, but it is a 3/2. I'm happy to see this change for her. I know it's a nerf when it comes to Ravonna, but I'm happy she got the +1, sorry. I'm happy she got the +1, making her 3/2, so she can compete now in those lanes that you have 3 other cards in, and I'm happy for it. I'm here for it. What do you feel about Wolfsbane?
I'm trying to see if I can find who it was that had the comment, because it was a comment I very much so agreed with once this went live. It was another creator, and I wish I could. I'm trying to look and see if I can credit it properly.
You look for it.
It was. It's speaking about the fact that this is a buff to Series 1 brand new players, right? Wolfsbane's a very early card. You get it very early on, and
It was
a 3/8.
the gentleman. I'll tell you who it was before you continue. The gentleman from Snap.fan who came to Brooklyn.
Sank.
What is his name? There you go.
Sanctalia. Yeah. So it's the idea that it's a really strong card for early game brand new players. It's a 3/8 in potential, which is, again, power creep slowly making its way down to Series 1. But at the same time, as you progress through your journey and start getting more and more cards, the places where you would want to play this, like negative, like Ravonna, now it's not as good. So it's a transitional card. It's a card that starts really strong early on, then it progresses into your negative deck eventually. And then over time, as you get Ravonna, then you realize this isn't as good in the negative deck. And then you continue on, you get Cassandra Nova and Sage. Well, this isn't as good. This isn't as good. And it slowly kind of gets weaned out. So late game, this is a definite nerf. But early game, this is a huge buff. So depending on which perspective you look at it, it could be viewed as both.
Agreed. I totally agree with that. That's a great comment. I mean, I do see that. And that's happy for the beginning tier people who have Wolfsbane. This is a very great card. So I'm happy for that change. And I do see the change. It makes a lot of sense. And then we go to Rhino. Somebody reached out to me and said they wish Rhino destroyed locations and not put a rock back in my own location. And I said, treat this card like a Dormamu sacrifice card for the 3rd turn. And I think that's the way you look at this card. I was running Wasp in the deck, so I could play Wasp in a lane with another card, and then, of course, sacrifice it for Dormamu. The fact that now Rhino's a 2/5 and does that, I mean, you can still walk with Wasp and do some cool things, but it being a 2/5, putting a rock in the location, I think it's not only buff Dormammu, but it also helps out with all the wonderful either Khazar or Patriot decks. So I'm happy with this change. Rhino going to a 2/5 puts it in, competition with Lizard, right? I know Lizard takes up 1 slot and it's a 2/6, and it has a very, very bad downside. But just adding another card in the lane, I mean, why not? 2/5, I'm happy for Rhino. How do you feel about
it? I was testing the exact same thing. That's what I was just pulling up here on stream, trying to see, we tried 6 or so, 14, so I went 13 and 6 in two different variations of Dormammu Rhino builds. Testing right away. I was doing better. Once I took out Morgan Le Fay and replaced it for Shang-Chi, it started really soaring.
Oh, big deal, of course.
Yeah, because Shang-Chi. But it was very much so a noticeable difference because of the ability to play the Rhino down early and get that stone gone very, very quickly. It was a really easy combination there. It helps your death. It helps your tally counts. It helps everything. And because of that, I feel like this is probably a regular Dormammu card now more than anything else. I do like this new change. I think it's going to take some testing to really iron it out, but whatever the final best deck of Dormammu ends up being, hands down, it ends up being a version that probably has Rhino in it.
Rhino. That makes sense. That 5 power is good. Whether you do anything cool with it, I definitely agree with that. Then we go on to the ancient one that was lackluster when it came out. The Tile Mandela is now a 2-cost card. Still does the same on reveal, does the cool things there, but it being a 2-cost, something that we mentioned we wish it was, because of course it helps with curve, helps that last turn, and they made the change happen. So now it's a 2-cost. I want to see more Ancient One card lists go out there. We knew this was going to happen. We knew that the Ancient One wasn't going to last at its current build. So I'm happy that they did buff the card. Guess how you feel about Ancient One?
I think I said it as soon as it happened on stream too, and we went over it. I think this is secretly the best part of the OTA. I think that this card is astronomically better at 3/5 with a 2-cost Tal Mandala. I think that the 2-cost is way easier to play, obviously. And they even talk about how they were worried about maybe, does Captain Carter, dropping down from a 4-cost down to a 3-cost, is that too OP? Does it help Surfer too much, etc.? And I think with the Tal Mandala, the decks that I want to play it in are decks that require a lot of littles. So every power counts. You saw it very often with like Victoria Hand decks, for example.
Right.
It's the first thing that we started doing. I built, because Misery also got a buff too, I built another Victoria Hand Ancient One Misery Speed combination Fire Hair fun stuff deck. And it's what we were playing right before we went into the podcast. It's already, a 60% win rate, and we barely started. But
that's awesome.
Should I be that stream? I can be that streamer like, yo, this deck is cracked. It's got a 60% win rate. It's so confused. We did 5 games, but like, oh my god, OP. Whatever.
Yeah,
I do think that the flow of the deck. No, but the flow of the deck is something that you can tell within like 5 games of playing a deck if it feels wrong. Right? If you've been doing it enough, playing the game enough, that okay, you've got the right draws, you've got the right play lines, you've got alternate play lines available to you, versus you're just locked into whatever you got. Right? This had so many different options of messing around. Like I had a lane that I buffed up the speeds because I could have done the Victoria Hands, but I opted for multiple speed lines and then went over to the other side. And it's a very flexible deck. And I think there's something there with these different ongoings. I think Victoria Hand makes a comeback. I think Misery helps with that tremendously. I keep an eye on the Ancient One, because I very much so expect this card to be a lot more present in the meta.
Totally agree with that. That's awesome. Then we go into Ironheart, which I know got some love because, of course, the TV show is out. I did watch first episode, not bad. Can't wait to see the rest of it. Nonetheless, Ironheart goes from giving 3 cards plus 2 power to giving 2 cards plus 3 power. So we got another plus 3 power card back on the stage. And this is I don't know. I wish I wanted more. We needed more for her. Maybe they kept it with the 3, get plus 3. That would have been a little better. But, she still does the same difference, right? 3 cards get plus 2 is 6. 2 cards get plus 3, that's 6. I mean, same difference either way you look at it. Yeah. I wish she did 3 and gave plus 3. Nonetheless, Ironheart, meh.
That's too strong. That'd be so strong.
The 3/9
without even trying.
But it's random. And it's a 3-cost card. It's not like Surfer, right?
If it's random, then you got to make this like then you would have to do something like 3 -1 and 4 times it gives plus 2. Like you'd have to do something crazy like that to justify a total of 7 power on the board. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of stuff you would have to see to get that level of power to pop out of Ironheart. But I honestly think this is a change exclusively for marketing. I don't think this has anything to do with Ironheart itself. I think this is an unnecessary change for the card. It's just bringing attention to Ironheart, and that's it. So it is what it is. I mean, all right.
Yeah. First I thought about was Nomura. Put on Nomura deck with Odin, Cosmo. Let's have some fun, see what happens. But I wish he gave 3 cards plus 3. And then we go to Prof X, which didn't get really much of a change besides the fact of moving is now the only way you can add or remove a character here. What you mean, what? It didn't get much of a change. You still can move cards in and out of this lane. The only difference is you can't.
Oh, you are
goblin
so
over.
Mistaken, my friend.
You can't. What you mean? Listen, you can't goblin over a card anymore. But you can still grandmaster.
Are we about to break your mind
card.
right now?
Please break my mind because I need to hear this because I don't see a difference. Go ahead, let me hear it. Break my mind.
Okay. So the change went from the moving is the only way to add or remove a card from here to moving is the only way to add or remove a character from here.
Okay. So what's the
That
difference?
means you can play
is
spells.
in the lane?
Uh-huh.
Well,
you can
sucks.
play
Why would they do
spells
that?
into
That's
the lane.
horrible. Why would they do such a thing?
Because now you can play something like Merlin and then go ahead and polymorph something over there just to get your werewolf by night to move in that lane later.
Poor Prof X. He would never be the same. Poor Prof X. Yes,
This
you blew my
made
mind, but
this is a good card again because of the prevalence of Merlin, the prevalence of all of these skill cards, including the one coming out next week, which we will talk about in a moment.
yes.
Like, this is all helping the skills. And the skill cards, spell cards, arcane cards, whatever you want to call them, all that crap.
To Galacta.
There's some crazy things that may be able to happen now because of this. So we may have to be ready to see, once again, the turn 4 meta of Professor X because you're doing shenanigans like, oh, I don't know, Wave into Prof X or Luna into Prof X, and then do some fun stuff, and then just move some extra power in there if you need to.
My question with that is, though, if we do polymorph him into a Galactus, the Professor Xavier ongoing goes away now, right? It doesn't stay there.
So it would have to be the Prof X that is the one that switches if you do a polymorph, because remember the polymorph is going to specifically target the lowest power card. So if Prof X is the lowest power only card in there,
he's the only card
and
in the
you
lane,
do that, it will remove the Prof X.
Okay,
and then it should bring the Galactus into it.
That's fine.
If you hit the 1 in 20, whatever, 26, 27, whatever
chance.
it is. Yeah, the big chance, but it's a chance nevertheless.
It's not.
But
we like those
I'm more looking at like the move shenanigans because of the spells with Werewolf as being an OP combination with Prof X that should be worth watching.
Yeah, that would be hilarious, by the way. All right, then we have Lockjaw, which we did want to talk about back with Thanos, when Thanos was the Mad Titan back in the day. Lockjaw with the stones was the way to go. And now they made sure that won't happen because Lockjaw has now become an activate. And I'm here for this. I'm happy for this. It can only happen one time now, once you activate the card, and then you can swap things out. I'm happy with this change. I just need them to do the same thing to Shuri. That's all I've been asking for. I don't know what we're waiting for. We're testing out cards. Lockjaw activate. That's beautiful. Can we do the same thing with Shuri, please? I'm happy for this because now you can activate when you want Lockjaw to trigger, and I think we need more cards like that, the ones that are forcing us to have to play in that lane or forcing us when we do play there, it triggers. So I'm happy to see Lockjaw to activate. It being a 2-2, even better because now, again, you can get this down nice and early, save it, get ready, go ahead and swap something out for something else. I'm happy about this change, and I can't wait to play a new Lockjaw deck. How you feel about Lockjaw?
I feel like Bob Barker.
Okay.
Because they just neutered this dog. Like, this is...
Oh, my goodness. They had to.
And I don't... They...
Thanos,
I think I'm just...
To.
No, but I think I'm just a little more confused because of the description down below. Kind of like how you were feeling a moment ago. I need my brain to be broken on this because they specifically say in the writing, and I quote, this might be a larger buff than we are that we are expecting. How is this that big of a buff?
Okay, I could blow your mind on that when you're ready.
I'm ready.
You ready? All right.
Do it.
So
ready.
We think about the old school Hela decks that relied on us using something like Blink to get Hela out. right? Now with this Lockjaw deck, you throw something in there, you activate it, you get that card you need. So it's kind of targeting a better targeting Jubilee or even an Iron Lad at that moment, because now whatever's in your deck, you can go ahead and try to target it out, give you that extra chance to pull out what you need. So I think this is totally fine. Why are you making that
I don't know
face?
if I agree with that, only because like
What you mean?
Hella Lockjaw used to be a thing. And
I know, but I know that. So
go ahead.
But with Hella Lockjaw, it was random, right? Like it was.
It's
I mean, I
still
know it was random,
too.
but I know. But the point is, you can play in this Lockjaw lane whenever you want after turn 2. You couldn't do that with the Hella deck. This is back when Hella didn't matter what you discarded. Now that you target discard, that she only brings back to different level, I think this is perfect.
Yeah.
I'm just using Hella as an example. We have other cards that we can think about. You understand? Like other cards that we can actually bring back and not have to worry about paying a Jubilee on the last turn. We could do things that trigger certain things, like play Dr. Doom into it, get his 2 Doombots to go out, and then swap out and pull something else out that you need to win that middle lane with, right? By putting power on the board, etc.
I need to sit with this longer then, because I just don't see this Lockjaw being a meta breaker, because Blink exists, and Blink at least allows you to target exactly like, oh, I played a 3-drop last turn.
Right.
And then it goes to any higher level other than that, and then you know what's left in the deck, so just basically you're super targeting in comparison to that.
Yeah, but it could be a second option. Or if you already got your cards in your hand, you can't, Blink is useless at that point, right? So I mean, you got to think about those type of options. I'm thinking more about the Jubilee, the Iron Lads. Think of Tribunal, right? Think of those lists is what I'm saying. You don't have the card, you play what you need to. It puts extra power out, and then it pulls that one card you were missing. I think it's going to be for super fun on that level. As far as it being like larger buff than expected, again, we're going to see what happens when you start building a deck to kind of where you want to pull that last card out with Lockjaw. And not have to, and still playing that lane, right, prior to it. So turn 2, you play Lockjaw, keep playing stuff into that lane, and then, of course, on that last turn, if you want to, swing and pull something out. I mean, that's the only thing I can see with this card.
The only one, I forget who said it in my chat when we were reading through it, the only synergy that like directly shout out to me is like, ooh, that could be dangerous, was Lockjaw into Electro.
Right.
I liked that a lot, because you could play that with a Blink line, and so you've got 2 different ways to rotate it through. And I do think that makes a lot of sense, to be able to go either turn 2 Lockjaw into turn 3 Electro, or turn 3 Electro into turn 4 Blink.
Can't.
So you've got 2 ways to get rid of the Electro.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah, you just activate it on the next turn. Exactly.
Right.
So
there you
I
go.
like that aspect to it, and that might require a little bit of deck building, experimentation.
It's gonna have to
but
be.
I do think there's something there.
Yeah, this is gonna be super fun. We'll see what happens when it actually happens. Now, of course, we're gonna go on to our next topic, and that is the one and only Dormamu, right? That was the card that I think a lot of people were anticipating, especially with the card that some people got, some people didn't get, and that's Kid Omega. So I think the Kid Omega decks with Dormamu is strong. I think that's probably the best one with it. Yes, Thanos is good with it as well. I was having some fun doing Infinite stuff with it too, being able to play Infinite She-Hulk and Dormammu on the last turn with Pixie. So that was super fun as well. But I really believe when I went up against Kid Omegas that just had the line that they needed with the Shuri and the Nimrod, and that card list just annihilated me no matter what I did. So I think Dormammu is a great card to destroy. You were right last week when I said, does this bring destroy up like how Bullseye did for this card? And the answer is no. You're absolutely right. It does not. It is a great card. And for me, I forgot what I gave it last week, but I'm giving this a double goal.
I'm a little higher than double gold. I'd like to put this as a destroy platinum. I do think that it brings destroy to that, next tier up, because you're constantly needing to think about it, and it's something that you're typically not knowing that they have it until turn 3, unless if you're that person that looks at deck size at the beginning of every single game and notice that there's 13 cards. Because if you notice there's 13 cards, there's 5 in the hand, okay, then you know absolutely they're playing a Dormammu build, which a lot of people haven't realized that's all you really need to do just to know what's going on. But I digress. I like Dormammu for destroy. I am not certain yet if the better build is with or without Thanos, because like I was playing a Thanos build earlier and I went 27 and 12 with it and climbed 42 cubes with a 70% win rate.
That's awesome.
And that's in the 90s, and it was doing great. And I had said even during it, I still want to tweak this deck. I want to take Wiccan out, but I don't know for what. I think I absolutely experiment with putting Rhino now back into that build because of the extra piece. And I know it sounds weird with, wait, you're taking this also with all the stones? Yes, because it's a destroy build, and the destroy build loves that destroying extra stuff. Rock being on the board to destroy, because there were several times I was one energy away from being able to play the death down, or one energy away from getting my Mockingbird down early before I could play my destroy cards, because that was a constant conflict of, do I get the Mockingbird down on this turn, or do I destroy things on this turn and then lose the reduction to the Mockingbird? So I kind of feel like I kill two birds with one stone by getting that extra stone down on the board now that way. And that's going to be the deck I mess with next for Dormammu after I continue the new OTA decks. But I do think that might be the next best build, because my most recent favorite card with Dormammu has also been Luna Snow. I love playing Luna Snow with Dormammu, getting that extra piece out there, because it helps the first two, technically all three rituals. Agreed. Right away. It really makes it very, very simple to get those, kind of flying. Big fan of Dormammu. I do think that with a little bit more time, like let the week finish and let us figure out if the better build is with Thanos in the new version of Thanos, or is the better version just straight up destroy. But I do think Dormammu decks with destroy end up being the need to go to version for destroy for it to be relevant in a competition or in a ladder climb.
I don't know. I still think that's a tough one. I still think the null, the Zola with with Dakin is also very strong and powerful too, with big numbers.
Like anyway. I like Dormammu in destroy better than I like Deadpool.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you on that too. I agree with that. I just think Dakin, Zola, and Null are very powerful too with Death. It's a very tricky one.
The destroy shenanigans that come to be with it.
Dormammu's super fun. Like I said, I played him with Infinite and She-Hulk and Luna, and be able to have that extra energy, and Pixie, and having a low cost Infinite, and then be able to drop Infinite, She-Hulk, and the summon ritual to get Dormammu has been like some of the most fun I've had. So shout out to the card. You give it platinum, I still give it a double gold. All right, then we go on to next week's card that's coming out, and that's Clea. I know we got beat up for this in the comments. It's that person that's coming out next week. And I am not too stoked for this card. I do understand that it has, wonderful affliction and some cool play around it, but I'm definitely not trying to see what's going on here.
I think Clea has this like mystery about her, because there's two different ways you really can play Clea. There's hand buff, surprise affliction, and then there's board buff, progressive affliction. Because for those who do not know, Clea is a 1/2. When this permanently gains power, so it can't be ongoing power, permanently gains power, add a Flames of the Fontaine to your hand, whether it's in your hand or in play. So if she gains power in the hand with something like Nakia, or if she gains power on the board, something like Ironheart, right? Then you get a 1-cost spell called Flames of the Fontaine, where it's on reveal, afflict an enemy card here with -3 power. That's a lot. That's a 1 -3 that then you start thinking about all of the affliction pieces that this can go with. You start looking at Diamondback. You start looking at other further afflictions like oh my gosh, what's his name, Abomination. There we go. It was like the 5 cost,
Yes.
High Evolutionary, that guy. High Evolutionary I think is probably going to be the best deck for Clea, because you want it with Misty Knight, you want to put it down, and whenever it gains power from the Misty Knight, boom, you're getting a Flames of the Faltine. You play down the Flames of Faltine, you're reducing down the cost of your Abomination, you're leaving the board space open. I think that you end up with some kind of real scary synergy with something like Marvel Boy, because every turn you're almost guaranteed a Flames of the Faltine if you just keep it to less than three 1-drops on the board. And like Zoo's gonna love that because it's overly powerful. I think there could be some like Affliction Zoo combinations that become really strong. I think that there's some hand buff that ends up really strong. I think this is a better card than we may give it credit for in the right build. So I'm going to sit on double gold because it does have a very high ceiling.
Yeah, I think I give it gold now, and it will get double gold a week after it comes out, because next week everybody's running Luke Cage, so you're gonna have to try to play for the Luke Cage by either using Rogue or Red Guardian. You're gonna try all the madness, but Luke Cage will be played all of next week. So, and that we're gonna be like, this card is not working out. So I think after next week we'll definitely see how good the card gets. So for me, I'm definitely gonna give it a gold for now, probably double gold after. And Gunny in the chat saying double plastic. I mean, listen, that's how he feels. Yeah, double plastic. There it is. Now let's go ahead and talk about...
That's just because he's double plastic. That's all,
Yeah,
whatever.
Of course. Let's go ahead and talk about... Well, I don't see it here, but we're going to see where it is. Okay? Where is the wonderful card that is coming out soon? All right, we'll dive into that in a second. Let's go ahead and talk about something a little bit more.
Define
the question
soon.
becomes,
what do you mean? I'm so confused. What?
Don't worry about it. We'll talk about the card afterwards. Let's go ahead and talk about the next topic, which is data mines good for the game? And what's your thoughts on that? How do you feel about data mines?
Okay, so the reason this topic is even coming up right now is because we are once again, and this has happened before, we are once again seeing from Snap.fan, one of the top third-party sites for Marvel Snap information, very often doing data mines. Whenever patches or little updates happen to the game, they're able to find information to kind of give us a heads up and let us know about things that are coming to the game, and officially, unofficially, see how things change, etc. And one of the most important pieces to it that the community does its research on, more often than not, is bundles. Understanding how to use, whether it's for dollars or for gold, it's understanding how to use your resources more effectively in the future. Now, we just had a patch, and in said patch, the bundle prices are gone. Now,
correct.
The last time this happened, the community was very upset because they allocate their resources. And then as a business, I remember having this discussion on the Snapback podcast, my old podcast forever ago, and talking about this one. Yeah. And talking about this specifically saying, hey, this is a business decision because they are trying to induce FOMO. And this went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, where the community was talking about it, creators talked about it, we all talked about it, and we're trying to figure out what's going on. Now, what we've heard is that this might be due to a publisher change, because officially now everything is, over on Second Dinner side. It's no longer on the Newverse side. Understanding, as someone who has worked on the on early builds of the game, right? So I've, they've sent me early builds of the game beforehand whenever I've done content. When I did the Blink video, when I did the Deadpool's Diner video, they send the unfinished build early so I could make content, and I get my, I record my B-roll, and I'm testing the game and understanding it to make the video on it. So I understand how the builds are made from that aspect of it. In my opinion, I don't think this has anything to do with a publisher change. I don't think this has anything. I think this is a specific decision done by Second Dinner that, if that is the case, I 1000% disagree with. Data mines in games are huge for content. They're huge for community. They're huge for progression. And as someone who might be a mild spender, which is someone that you need to really cater to, you're trying to get your mild spenders to spend more, and you're trying to get new players to spend altogether, right? That as a business, that's what you're always trying to do. Whales are going to whale no matter what, but you're always trying to get a new audience, a new migration of whales into your system. And if that's the case, you need people to want to spend dollars, or whatever denomination you want to go towards. You want them to spend in real life currency in the game. And if that means they have to be more specific about doing it because they know that, okay, there's a $15 bundle coming out in 3 weeks that I can save and want to be able to buy, that's fine. And then they save and they wait for that bundle and they make that expense. However, that same player, if they don't know it's showing up and then it randomly shows up, there's the hope of them wanting to spend that 15 for FOMO, fear of missing out, but then you don't know if it's actually going to happen or not, because they might not do the expense at all because maybe they think something better is going to come down the pipeline, or maybe now they just can't do it. Something is askew in that sense. I personally don't think this has anything to do with that. I think with the publisher change, I think this is a choice by Second Dinner, and I'm not happy about it.
All right. My take on it. I don't know. It's tough. It's a tricky thing to talk about. First part of it is, I agree with you. I prefer data mines. Not only do most of my content come from data mines. As you guys know, I do a weekly podcast, every variant coming to Marvel Snap. So without data mines, that show won't even exist. I think it builds excitement. Like you said, it tells people, hey, these are the variants that are coming out. These will be in bundles. This will be how much it will cost. And I think people do take that content very seriously, and they're able to plan out what they want and what they want to get. So for me, big fan of data mines, because majority of my content revolves around it. And also I want to be able to let the community know what I think is cool, what I think they should get, and show off those variants before they come out to get them hyped to go get it. The other side of it is data mines become a thing, just like how some people I know who are in the tech space, they don't like to see leaks or data mines of certain devices or hardware or software that's coming out for phones or for computers, because it takes away that surprise, that excitement. And you guys see a lot of that when you watch, phone reviews or phone previews, let's say phone leaks or software leaks or game leaks. It spoils the surprise for you. Same thing when it comes to movies, right? You have trailers, and trailers make sure to do a good thing to get you hyped without spoiling the film. You need something that gives you hype for games like this that doesn't spoil it. And I think that's where some people will prefer not to have data mines, because they want to be surprised when that new variant shows up in the shop. Like, oh, I didn't know this was coming out, and they get happy and excited. And does that cause people to want to buy it more because FOMO is there now? Like, I didn't know this is coming out. I didn't plan for this. Oh my gosh, it's only out for 3 days. Should I go and get it? So I don't know if that's the plan that they're looking at to try to do. But I think it's two sides of it, and it's very tricky on how to capitalize on it, right? Because again, that's what movie trailers are all about. I compare it to movie trailers. You want to get people hyped. So you have the dev video, you do show some of these things off. But again, I think they need to do something, on a weekly basis that maybe show off what's coming, and if they don't want to show the price, etc. But yeah, what do you want to say? Let me hear it.
I disagree with your analogy of movie trailers, because movie trailers are put out by that company, by the production company, intentionally as a teaser to get you to want the product.
Right.
Versus data mines, where it is your choice if you want to procure that information from another place. So if I'm a player who wants to know the future, I can go look for that information if I want to. If I'm a player versus having it shoved down my throat intentionally. A movie trailer is the production company saying, here's what you should know about what's up and coming about this item or this product or this movie in this case, right? You should know this. This makes you want to have the whole product. The equivalent of Marvel Snap doing that would have them basically be saying, here's the content that comes in a bundle and not put a price on it. That would be the equivalent of a movie trailer doing that. But a data mine is completely different. Data mine, it would be the equivalent of somebody bootlegging the movie.
Right.
Early.
Yes, correct. Right.
Right. So the movie trailer analogy is not equal in this case.
That's not a problem. But I said they need to find a way to do that, is what I'm saying. They need to find a way to balance both sides. Because if they're going to get rid of data mines altogether, it's going to be a problem. But if they keep data mines, if they keep data mines, then the people who want to be surprised, or the people that you think would be surprised, they would never find out because the data mines are out there. The leaks are out there every week. You understand what I'm saying? There's no way for them to be like,
no, I don't understand what you're saying, because that would be the case if all information was not data mineable. They are specifically gating the prices and the bundles, dollars. That's if your case was that they're not allowing all data mines, that's a whole nother argument, because you wouldn't be able to see art ahead of time.
I thought they were doing no more of that. I thought it was strictly everything. You're just saying it's just price.
No, didn't you make a fucking variant video?
I know. I thought it was for the next patch. I know it was this patch. All right, so
no.
So I'm
talking about
wrong.
right
I'm
now.
completely wrong.
No.
So now is just
this
the
patch
pricing.
right now. Yeah.
Because
Just
why I
pricing.
thought I did a bundle. I thought I did do a bundle on the Red Guardian and it showed the price. I'm not going crazy. Yes, I did. The Red Guardian and something else was a bundle, and I showed
for
the
the
price
next
on my
one.
video.
For
this week, for this current
for the
week.
bundle. No, for the bundles that were going to be projected
this week,
and data mined.
Yeah, as of this week, not next week. So this week's video, there was Red Guardian in the beginning, and it was Spider-Man, symbiote Spider-Man. It had $24 on it because I was able to put it in my video and tell people, for $24 I'm getting this symbiote. So for me, I thought the data mines were being removed coming next week, and I thought everything was being removed because the pricing on Snap.fan for both the symbiote Spider-Man and for the Red Guardian was there because I was able to put it in my video on Tuesday.
So if you take a look at the Snap.fan patch link that I sent you, right at the very top, it specifically has a quote from Sank, the lead for Snap.fan. And it says, note everything here isn't final and subject to change by second dinner, as it always does.
Right.
But then in
I did a video on
addition,
the same
it
thing.
says, second note, for the foreseeable future, we no longer have bundle and album data mines. This may change in the future. It may not. And if you scroll through that data mine, there are no bundles in this data mine, and there are also no albums except for just the name of the album. These are things that people have always been able to figure out how they want to use their resources, whether it's albums because they want to look at the emotes that you get from it, the variant that you get from it, or an upcoming release of variants specifically to say, oh, this album is showing up where, okay, I'm going to save my gold to get all 12 of these variants because I love these variants that are coming up in the future. You no longer have access to that as a consumer, and all of the bundles that we would normally data mine for what would be a month, in this case, a month and a half ish away from now, those are gone. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I got you. That's what confused me because I was still able to get this bundle and the price. I just sent you the link from that patch. So I got this bundle.
That's the patch before
which I did. Okay. So then that makes sense. All right. So fair enough.
Yeah.
So they're going to keep all the variants, but they're getting rid of all the pricing.
Yeah, you'll still see variants show up.
Okay.
In the data mines, but you won't know if it's in a bundle outside of if it says the bundle tag, and it won't say what else is in the bundle. It won't say the value of the bundle. It won't say the date, the official release date of the bundle, unless if you look at the release date of the card. It's that type of stuff that is a
so I think that sucks.
issue.
I think it sucks 100%.
Yeah.
The only reason why they would do this is to not be held accountable for the price you saw on the data mine.
Maybe.
That'd be the only reason why they do that. I mean, that's my only take on it. It's funny because the Spider-Man was data mined at $29, but they dropped it today for $24. So like, wouldn't that be nice, right? Wouldn't it be nice if you data mine? So it's gonna be $30 and they save $5 today. So why would they get rid of that? The only reason I would think is they don't want to be held accountable if something is data mined at a lower price and they made it a higher price. But nonetheless, it sucks all around. I thought they were getting rid of everything. They just keeping everything and giving rid of the price. That's real suspect.
I feel like there's a middle ground in here somewhere. I feel like there's a way for the community to know and want to budget things out differently. Like, because for the most part, if you played the blind game of here, I'm going to show you a Marvel Snap bundle and I want you to guess how much this bundle is going to be. You could probably guess within about a plus or minus $10 range of, okay, this is probably like a $15 or a $20 bundle. This is probably a $50 or something dollar bundle. You can roughly figure that out percentage wise and get an idea. And even if Second Dinner wants to not put out pricing because they want to have that flexibility of pricing up until release date, allow us to see the contents of the bundle and let us know if it's dollars or gold.
Yeah.
But you don't have to put a value to it officially. And then on release, you put the release value of whatever the actual release. I think that there's a middle ground here is what I'm trying to say, because I can understand the FOMO aspect of the business side for Second Dinner. I can understand the community who wants to budget their resources and spend their money accordingly wants to do so. I just think that out of all of the people that interact with social media for the game, and I just recently had this conversation with somebody in Second Dinner where the amount of people that interact with social media for Marvel Snap versus the amount of players that actually play the game, it's an astronomically large number that don't interact with social media or even know what a data mine even is. And the small people, the small percentage of people, I should say, that are interacting with social media, that are listening to podcasts, that are on Twitter looking at data mine prices and bundles that people are sharing. The amount of people that are doing that are the people that are trying to budget resources to use more often than not.
Correct. Right.
So those are the people you should be catering those data mines to because they want to spend their money. They just have to choose wisely. And if you don't give them the window to choose wisely, they will just choose not to. And that's my fear.
Yep, agreed. So I think we should have Second Dinner here every week, and they can just go ahead and let us know the pricing of the bundles, and then
I'm totally cool with that.
And I don't know why we don't do that already.
I'm ready. I'm ready for you whenever you are. Ben, come on,
no.
Show up, Ben. Yeah, Let's go.
We'll have some grilled cheese ready for you. Don't you worry.
Damn right.
Then we'll go on to our next topic. Yeah, sorry. Well, I like mustard. What do you mean no mustard? What kind of host are you? You want me to come to Brazil and you ain't got no mustard for me?
Oh no, I got mustard. Just not on my grilled cheese. Can we just please dance around this one really carefully and not continue the conversation, because no matter what, it ends up poorly for me. And then I know reasons. Astral Projection comes out. It is a card.
Oh, man, the first of its kind, ladies and gentlemen. This card is a first of its kind, being released only as a wonderful spell. That's right. So no card is needed, no Merlin, no Agamotto. It's just strictly a card that you get by playing Sanctum Showdown. And once you get this card, you can do something cool with it, which is, on reveal, copy the text of a on reveal in your hand. So I think that's pretty cool. I think it's pretty awesome. Again, something that is a cool on reveal to do with it is not Black Panther, because, of course, once Black Panther, once this doubles up, it goes away. So keep that in mind, guys. Yeah. This card does disappear after it's played. So I am excited. Something new, something fun to get. Did not expect this at all. And I think this is a great thing that Second Dinner has done with Sanctum Showdown, allowing to put this type of a card or skill in a way that you can obtain it, right? And it's not something that's, too OP or such a problem. And I do like that this is the first of its kind. And now we can really sit back and think about what skills we want to get added to the game, right? It doesn't have to be a card that plays the skill or pulls the skill from out of nowhere. It could just be a skill by itself. And you and I had a discussion about extending your hand a certain way for those cards to work, like the card from What If, I forgot her name, but that card, having a skill would be something cool that does with it.
I think this card is better than we're giving it credit for. I think that this is a card that potentially ends up being really, really good. We talked a little bit about it. I want to say it was last week, and I'm just gonna throw a couple of like ideas out there, because this is a 3-cost card, right? How would you feel if you had a 3-cost leader? Let me just just for 3 costs, let me just take your most powerful card.
That.
What if I said I have Hela in my hand, but I also want to play another card as well? So I'm going to leave Hela in my hand, and I'll play Astral Projection instead, which will play the Hela mechanic for me.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to play Sage with Hela, for example.
Correct. Yeah.
Or
I love it.
I could just destroy a whole bunch of stuff with Lady Deathstrike.
Yeah.
I could just leave it in my hand and just destroy the rest of the lane, because I need to save 2 energy to use something else in that lane later on. I could just get rid of one of your cards entirely because I Black Bolted earlier.
I'm thinking more in the move aspect too, because you can play this card, it pulls the Heimdall, it disappears. Like, it does a bunch of cool things, I think, with this card, which is going to be super fun. So yeah, I think, agree with you.
I mean, even stuff like, even if you want to get like really, really cheeky, doing stuff like Sentry just to put a Void on the board. It's a cheaper version of playing Sentry that you can then do your Cersei and your Viper and all that kind of stuff without ever needing to play Sentry necessarily, or then later play Sentry.
Right.
I think there's a surprisingly good amount of cards that this card will benefit from, because it's about the card effect, not the card power.
Correct. And being able to play a turn 3 Galactus in an empty lane sounds super fun.
I mean, you can straight up, you can Arnim Zola something. It's the same thing, but for half the cost.
I was saying, I was trying to say, like, this is so good. It is so good. I cannot wait to get this card. And speaking of how to get this card, it's in Sanctum Showdown. Yes, I haven't played it yet. I know you've been playing all day. I've been doing a bunch of foolishness all day today. How's Sanctum Showdown been? Is it better than the last one? Is it the same as the last one? And how much fun are you having or not having?
So I wanted to talk a little bit about Sanctum Showdown because, it's the back-to-back game mode aspect of things, right? I think Sanctum Showdown is getting a lot of unnecessary hate, but also a lot of necessary. It's a culprit of the month. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago before the season started, and I said that this is going to be the most difficult season grind to Infinite because there's so much happening this month. We just had High Voltage Overdrive. Drama or not, we had it.
Right.
We now have Sanctum Showdown. We have the Infinite Climb. We have Conquest next week for Infinite.
Coming next
Infinity Conquest. There's so much to do in the game, and this is because this is the first month that we've ever had 2 limited time game modes in the same month. I think we're hearing a lot of hate. Hang on. I think we're hearing a lot of hate that is also spillover from the Kid Omega situation.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think a lot of it is that. I don't think as much of it is like actually, chaotically bad. I think that the game mode itself is fun. I think this game mode is one of the better, more established game modes. But I'm also hearing that people are slightly upset. Well, not even at Burnout. Some people are slightly upset that the rewards aren't as good this time, because there's only one Series 4 card versus last time where it was around for, I want to say it was 2 weeks. and we had 3 Series 4 cards in the Spotlight rotating thing.
Yeah,
Plus,
I remember.
you could grind for up to 4 more cards. If you wanted to absolutely grind out that game mode,
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
you could. It was the random Series 4, Series 5 that you didn't have, no dupes. And, 7 cards in a game mode was incredibly lucrative. And people played more in Sanctum Showdown 1, we'll call it, than I think pretty much any other limited time game mode that they've ever done, because people were grinding to get those free Series 4 and Series 5 cards. And now you've got one of them, and that one card, I'll speak from experience. I played for 2.5 hours after reset before I moved to the OTA decks. In 2.5 hours, I got halfway to that card. So getting the card, the Astral Projection, is very easy. Very, very easy. You don't even have to finish the whole track getting to Sorcerer Supreme. You get to like the one below it, I think. And that's stupid good. Like stupid good. It's accessible as hell. If you're a grinder and a completionist and you need to complete the entire shop, okay, I understand your burnout. But if your objective is the new card, this is a break. So there's this conflict of conversation happening about the game mode where some of it is spillover from Kid Omega. Some of it is, wow, this is great. It's such a relief compared to Overdrive and compared to the last grind I had to go through with this. And then other people are saying this is back to back and this is chaos and this is too much work. And then other people, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's just, there's very mixed conversations, and I think they're
as it always will be
valid.
Right.
Except for the Kid Omega spillover.
Yeah. So
I think they're all valid points.
Okay. My take on that, I didn't play it yet, but it's only out for 6 days compared to 2 weeks, so they could never have given us 4 to 7 cards in this version. That's number one.
Yeah, no way.
Number 2, we had so much. We have too much going on. People are still trying to get to Infinite. People are still trying to do Conquest next week. We just finished Overdrive, so yeah, I don't think it would have been a good look for them to give people more things to do. Could definitely be burnout. So 100%. I think giving the one card, I think, is good for those people who are happy about it because they could just grind out and get it. You guys are on a good page right there because you can continue and then go back to your Conquest or go back to your ladder and try to go Infinite. Those people who wanted more, you had 2 limited game modes. Put them together. There go your more. All right. I mean, you had a lot to do in Overdrive, and you have something to do here. So I think, to me, you had a plenty to deal with this month. But I do understand that you want more out of the shop and out of the game mode. So I totally get it. But I just think it was too much anyway. And for those people who are just mad at the Kid Omega stuff, you will continue to be upset. And I totally understand your gripe. But you cannot mix it up with this, right? Kid Omega stuff with Overdrive is separate. So we'll keep it over there. But over here, your gripe should definitely be you wanted more, or, of course, it is too much to have all in 1 month. Nonetheless, I think it's great because it gives people an option to do something, right? Once you go Infinite nice and early like some of us do, it becomes boring. So for us to have another game mode back-to-back, I'm all for it. And for those who want to play Conquest next week, you have another option. You could play this and Conquest. You could do this and that. So I think overall that's pretty cool, and the card that comes with it is awesome. Yeah, I would have preferred at least 1 or 2 more cards. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Just the 1 card in this mode, hey, I'm happy either way, but 2 more cards would have been phenomenal. So what do you give the Sanctum altogether?
I mean, for first impressions, I just think it's a very fun game mode. I think it is, polish is a good word for it. I think it is, as of right now, the most polished game mode that they have published on V2. I think, considering this is a second iteration, we saw Deadpool Diner 2 come out. We saw High Voltage 2 come out. I think that this one is much more polished. And if the biggest gripe is due to
more
amount of of content throughout the month,
give me more.
Yeah, people just want more. I can live with that. What happened to your mic? Holy crap, you got loud. Did you press a button?
I didn't do anything.
Is it? I know my chat's definitely hearing it. All of a sudden, you just got way louder. Yeah.
I didn't do anything. I've been in the same position as always. That's scary.
And now it's back down.
All right, well, hey, there it goes, guys. I don't know what happened there, but I don't know. This
Anyway.
software, I'm not gonna call the software's name, but it's very, I don't know. I think we've never
Finicky.
done this live with this software. It is very finicky. Oh, maybe my camera.
happens.
Maybe I should have turned my camera down. Either way, yeah, I think my camera's at 2180. That's probably why. Either way, doesn't matter. Yeah, polish. I do like Sanctum. I think this is a mode that can actually stay. I think this is a mode that they can actually keep in the game at least once every month, every once a week, a month, or for the entire duration of it. But let's see what happens going forward. Now, guess here's your favorite time of the podcast, and that's when we go over some of the old comments. Now, before we get to that, I have a question for you. Are you ready for
42.
the question?
Is it do I prefer to be in full screen mode? Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. So good. Let me stop that first, just to make sure that we're on the same page, because you want me to see your face. There it is. There is your
I'm in 4K,
face.
damn it. I want to show this shit off.
There you go. I thought you were in 2K.
On Twitch
mean
it's 2K,
4K?
but for you, I'm in 4K.
Agreed. I love it. I love it. I can see everything. I see all your wonderful hairs everywhere. Before we dive into the wonderful card, the topics on the list. We did get a lot of feedback from the last comment you left. Do you remember that comment, that statement you mentioned?
I don't know. What did I say?
Okay.
I say a lot of
Content.
things.
Content. How to do content. New content, old content. Did you see any of the responses?
Oh, I have not, no.
Okay, good. So before we dive into that, did you come up with an idea that you wanted to do for new content as of yet? That's the question I have for you before we pull up the responses.
I want to revisit some beginning stuff. I want to go back to making some like series 1, series 2, series 3, deck lists. I want to talk about economic resources and things of that nature. I do have some ideas of how to welcome somebody into Snap who has never played Snap before or comes from other games.
Okay, perfect. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about some of that awesome stuff that people mentioned and left over. So I like your idea. People do like that. Somebody definitely did mention that comment of doing something that allows new people to get into the game, right? So I think that's pretty cool. So you did hit that on the nail on the head. But I want to pull up another comment by someone that was said.
Stuck out to you.
Yes. It's a bunch of them. So I'm trying to pick the one that I really want. Here goes. So somebody named Evil Greg 2. Evil Greg 2 left a
Revenge
long
of Greg.
list.
Yes.
Yes, a long list of items, starting with tips for creating decks for tournaments. Don't give me your deck, pause, but rather help me build one and give me the tools to create my own.
Okay.
It's a cool concept, right? Okay. Theme decks. They can be fun or competitive. Bonus points if there are multiple creators making decks and then playing them against each other. I want to see things like X-Men versus Avengers or non-American heroes versus cosmic heroes. Be creative. And that's a cool topic.
I'm gonna talk on that one for a half a second though.
Please.
Unfortunately,
Yes.
I will not go down that path, and I'll say exactly why. People want competitive. People want to know what's relevant. People want to know what's meta. People want to know X, Y, and Z. In that sense, the fun, casual version of Snap on YouTube, like if I put out a video of the top 5 meta decks right now versus the video that puts out like Avengers versus X-Men, can I take down Super Tech God's Avengers deck with my X-Men deck?
Right.
I know without a question of a doubt as a creator, it's going to be the top 5 meta decks video 95 times out of 100.
Okay.
Because the viewership on that is people don't watch YouTube videos for that type of entertainment. On a live tournament, they will.
Yeah. Right.
And I can speak from experience on that from the Agatha tournament that I did. If I did a Agatha focused deck just for fun and made a video on it and then put it out there, and it's not revolved around current meta stuff, or current cards at released, I don't see that doing well. It'll get no love. My case in point with that exactly is Regis Gilbin. He's proof of that concept, that it has to be relevant to either a brand new card or a high performing deck that is quirky.
Right. Okay.
It still has to be one of those two things. So the theme decks, sadly, I don't think will ever work in the YouTube format, but on a live stream, that shit's a lot of fun.
So that's funny. So I just before doing this, I just came from Not My Dance's stream, which I think a lot of people were having a good time watching us do this quirky matchup. Let's see how the YouTube video does. Let's see. We have Dance that did the video, but basically he reached out to me, and yesterday he wanted me to create 2 decks using emote cards only. So all the emotes that I do own, I can make a deck out of the cards. If I don't have the emote, I can't use the card. So I ended up building a Galactus deck and also a lockdown deck with the emotes. And we had some fun. We went down to the wire, last game, last point, and it was super fun. And the people on chat was having a blast with it. Let's see how the YouTube video does. I think you're right. I think him posting that video, let's see what the numbers look like. So that'd be interesting. So that point might be proven there. All right. And then we have another Evil Greg just killing it. I'm at the point where I can usually get to infinite, but I'd be lying if I said I have any understanding of the ranking system. A super nuts infinite guide that covers best practices on getting there and what it means once you do become infinite. I mean, that's awesome, right? I can't make that video.
I'm not the guy for that video, though. I'll tell you that confidently. I'm not that guy.
Okay.
I'm still in the fucking 90s, and we're 3 weeks into the system? Yeah, no. Some days I'm infinite day 2, and then some days, some months it's like this. You know, it's I'm not that guy. Yeah, I'm not that guy.
Use infinite. You will be there in no time. All right. I love deep thought, strategy talk, but sometimes I want to see stupid shit. There you go. I would love to see a review of all the emotes and what you think it means. Blah 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 blah. Okay. I mean,
I would do that one. I would, because that one's just a fun one. Sidebar: have you seen the DJ ELO bot video that he put out of his Cerebro 4 deck from the Golden Gauntlet?
Yes, it was hilarious.
It was if you
I love
that kind of absolute crazy type of editing, lots of memes and references.
Yeah,
that video,
a lot of cool things.
You know, because he originally posted it in our creator Discord and tagged KM Best and I and said, "This is the closest I'm ever going to get to doing a video with KM Best and It's Just Gaming," because he took all the content from the Golden Gauntlet and edited it in. Yeah. I have to say, he did an absolutely phenomenal job. Make sure we link that in the description down below of this video. You guys need to see it. It's chaotic, super good in the sense of like, if you remember, oh my God, what's his name? Nuff Said Bob. Like, it's very much that style of editing. Yeah. And he does a really good job of it. It was really funny. And it's part 1 question mark. So I think he deserves praise and credit, not craze and credit, but praise and credit.
Yes.
Words are hard. And that's that for that style and that audience. It's really, really good.
It's really
I
great.
know how much from an editing point of view, I know how much work puts into a 10-minute video. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
The zoom ins, the zoom outs, the masking, right? The everything that he has to do in the back end on that video.
Crazy amount of work.
But I loved every inch of it. It was hilarious.
But that style, that's what I'm saying though. That style of editing has a place.
People will love that. Yes,
and people will love it for Marvel Snap content. I know my audience is not that audience though. If I made a video like that, it would probably spread over to what is their audience.
Correct.
More often than not. Because I've done shorts like that. I've done edits like that. In other games, I've done edits like that. And it works for a very specific audience. Group. I know my Snap audience and my Snap demographics. That's not my content.
Right.
But that content can exist because it is, it's rapid and it's exciting and it's fun.
And it's funny.
So it's fun. It's dynamic. It's very, in your face and lots of high edit and, that has a place. I just know that's not my place. So that's some of those suggestions have to go to those creators.
To those wonderful creators that do that.
And they're great creators. Exactly. Like I'm praising this video on our podcast because it was really well done. Like,
Yeah.
because I know how much work, you and I both know how much work goes into that level of editing.
Yeah. He killed it. I don't know.
Absolutely,
He killed
absolutely killed it.
That had to take him at least a week or so, but he killed it
Easily.
He killed it
Easily.
Yeah, he killed it.
But for content and creating new ideas for new users and new players, that's a great way to get people excited about coming into the game in one capacity. I'm just going to be going about it in a different capacity, looking at different types of information, different types of targeting, different types of editing. And if there's anything I learned from my last 2 videos, for my audience, apparently editing doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They just want to hear me talk, which is so weird.
There you go. You're doing it now.
Maybe I'll edit some other stuff, though.
There you go. We'll find out. STG, you're the variant guy. Lead on to that. I want to see a list of the top 10 variants. I do that every year. Check out my YouTube. And I want to see the worst variants of all time, funniest variants, artist showcase. I want to do an artist showcase, so I'm with you on that. They also have some other cool things on here for new players, offer struggle against the tide. You know, the community could really use some regular posts, real-time guides, etc. I think guests would be great at some real-time guides, to be honest. But nonetheless, that is some of the topics that was brought up for that question that you had. As for everything else, people were just loved the conversation of talking about what's going on with the Kid Omega stuff, what's happening with High Voltage, Overdrive, and, looking into everything else, right? Finally got to finish the whole episode after hearing guests and watching his video. Big props to him. Sacrifice content by not paying into the bullshit. So I'm glad, everybody's doing what they're supposed to do to help with the community. So we got a lot of those wonderful praises. And of course, a lot of Sino. They love the wonderful, the intro.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody says, wow, you live in Brazil? They had no idea.
Surprise.
Yes, there you go. We got a lot of cool things.
I'm going to shout out the one guy, guy who likes to comment about all the Kid Omega crap, talking about great, it's not one guy, it's a group of people that love to do it anyway, but these content creators, they say these things and they're for the community and they still get the card and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, as a creator that has the card, who is doing more behind the scenes for defending the community than you all have any idea about. And that's all I can literally legally say. I had a community goal. The community reached the goal. The community bought the card, so I can test it in front of the community because that's what they wanted. And as a content creator, 100%. I am here to create content for my community. And I will continue to get new cards. I will continue to showcase new cards. I will continue to make sure that you have content to watch on Marvel Snap, because I will stay relevant and I will still, at the same time, be fighting like all of you fuckers have no goddamn idea what I'm doing behind the scenes to make this shit work in different ways. I can't even begin to tell you how good the next couple of months of Marvel Snap are going to be.
Agreed. You can, but then, it won't be a surprise.
I can, but then it would ruin quite a bit.
Yeah.
You cannot data mine guests. I'll tell you that for damn sure.
Facts. That is facts. I'm going to talk about this comment right here because it was funny. Somebody says, I know you guys hate Arishem. We don't hate Arishem. Who hates Arishem?
I hate Arishem. I do. Zero hold back on that one. Yep.
But a lot of people love Arishem, especially the casual players. So I think it's good to have Arishem options to appeal to different players and types. Not everything in the game should be tailored to guest taste. Excuse me? Oh man. Guess everything.
I wish I had that influence. Are you kidding me?
Because you don't like Arishem, and also MTG player tastes. So they ain't just single you out. But nonetheless, Arishem, we love Arishem here. What are you talking about? We just don't play him a lot. That's all. Arishem got some awesome variants. But nonetheless, we got a lot of cool things. People saying bring back the collector. Well, same person said bring back the collector. I guess we have to do that. I guess I have to do that.
You do.
But yeah, a lot of support. They loved the episode. Shout out to you guys. Thank you so much. We didn't get to read everybody's comments. But, of course, if you guys have a comment down below, we'll make sure to try to get your comment on the next episode. I mean, wow. It was a lot of love, a lot of praise in that video. I appreciate you guys leaving those comments. You guys are amazing. We do this for the community, as you guys know. And as Guest says, fighting for everything that you guys deserve in the back end. You don't know what's happening in the background. And it's, it's better that way, right? You guys get shielded from a lot of things. And I do understand you guys want to hear certain things, but there's no need for that. Just have faith in your favorite content creators that they are looking out for you and not just doing things to stab anybody in the back. So just keep that in mind, all right? And with that being said, make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit the bell, follow Guest's channel, follow DJ, the DJ Bot.
ELO Bot, DJ ELO Bot, man.
We're gonna leave that link down below. Put some respect on his name, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
Peace.
And I did press record this time.
Hey.